Hello, kids. It's Grandpa Wes, and today I'm going to share with you a little bit about how poetry came to be a part of the Stevenson family, at least as far back as I can remember. When I was a kid, we often had long drives to take to go to Grandma's house or to go to neighboring towns, and we'd be in the car for 45, 60 minutes, just getting to places. And to pass the time, we'd often ask Dad to share some of the poems he had memorized. And they were always tall tale poems, funny and or adventuresome, and kind of like Robert Service poems, The Cremation of Sam McGee or Dangerous Dan McGrew. He had one called The Ballad of Buckskin Joe about a mining camp that was full of tough characters. Anyway, one of them that we asked for a lot, and a number of us have memorized over the years, is one that perhaps Dad learned when he was in the Navy, because it has to do with it's called A Nautical Extravagance is the official name of the poem. But anyway, he would share it, and it went always something like this. As I sat one day by a breezy bay just watching the ships go by, a tired tar said with a shake of his head, I wish I could tell a lie. I've seen some sights that would jigger your lights, and they've jiggered me own one sooth. But I ain't worth a darn in spinning a yarn if it wanders away from the truth. Now, we were out on a rig, the rig-a-me-jig, about a mile and a half to sea, when Captain Cook, with a troubled look, he comes and he says to me, he says, Boatswain Smith, make haste forthwith, him stitch that forward sail, for according to plea to this dory sheet, there's a-gonna be a gale. Well, I straightway did what the captain bid, and no sooner than the job was through, the north wind, woof, come over the roof, and murderin' light she blew. She blew the tars right off the spars, blew the spars right off the mast. Off flew the sails and the buckets and nails all on the wings of the blast. The galley shook as she blew our cook straight out of the porthole glim, while pots and pans and kettles and cans went clattering after him. She blew the fire from the galley stove and the coal from the galley bin. She whistled a pace on the captain's face and blew the beard right off his chin. Well, whistle me dead, the captain said, and those words blew out of his mouth. We're lost, I fear, if the wind don't veer and blow a while from the south. Well, whistle me dead, no sooner than said, those words what blew from his mouth, that switching around with a hurricane sound, she came straight in from the south. We opened our eyes with a wild surprise and never a word to say. In changing her tack, the wind blew back the things she had blown away. She blew back the tars onto the spars, and the spars back onto the mast. Back flew the sails and puckets and nails, which into the ship stuck fast. And 'fore we could look, she blew back the cook, straight into the galley coop. Back dropped the pans, kettles, and cans without even spilling the soup. Well, she blew the fire back in the galley stove, and it burnt in its proper place, and all of us cheered when she blew that beard right back on the captain's face. Well, I've seen some sights that would shiver your lights, and they've shivered me own one sooth. But I ain't worth a darn in spinning a yarn if it wanders away from the truth. Oh, we would laugh at that because obviously this old salt or old tar, that they would call a sailor back in the olden days, was obviously full of hooey, full of tall tales. So that's how poetry kind of came to be in the Stevenson family, as as entertainment and something fun to share one generation to the next. So with that, you now have a little bit more of your history and hopefully a little entertainment of your own. So let's keep it going, guys. Let's have fun with some poems over the coming years.